the slides. Let me just share a little bit about the history of Wild and Wise and how it came to be, and what it means to me is everything that you've said. A lot of times people hear the world, wild and wise women, and they think like women tearing their clothes off and, this kind of wild. And while there's certainly an element of that, when I use the word wild, what I'm really talking about is our natural essence, in nature, and that's why I wanted to meet out here and not inside, is that this is the essence of nature surrounding us. And when we are connected to our natural essence and our pure connection, life is a lot easier, and we're a lot more in integrity with our hearts and our minds. We don't have as many of the sort of struggles and mental pulls that we have when we allow culture and society to try to dictate too much of who we are. So wild to me is yes, it's getting free and shaking it and having a great time and doing the full-on full move. Woo! It's that, but it's also this quietude of allowing our natural essence to be birthed through our lives in every moment as much as possible. And obviously the wisdom piece is cultivating our connection with divinity. So it's sort of that balance between earth and sky, right? It's feeling the wisdom of the earth, but also allowing the wisdom of God, divinity, whatever you call your spiritual connection. And we all have different ones in this world. There's so many. My personal one is just love in nature, because I feel that every religion I've studied, and I've studied a lot of them, they all have that same thread of just respect, take care, compassion, love, nature, service. So Wild and Wise was birthed a couple of years ago. I was in a relationship with a beautiful man for 8 years, and I was head over heels in love and thought for sure we were going to have our whole lives together. And suddenly I started having these dreams, and we were in Costa Rica living together. I had built a retreat center and worked on a retreat center there, and it was just starting to really happen, and the place was getting built and the construction was happening, and it was a really exciting time. And I thought, okay, this is where my partner and I are going to create this incredible retreat center. And I started having these dreams about wild cats, like big tigers and panthers, and every dream had a really similar theme of the cat being domesticated, or the cat being sort of bound, or like someone killing the cat for money. All these kinds of themes of the wild thing being domesticated. Well, you probably know that the feminine spirit is often connected with cat energy. Feminine energy and feline energy are very related. The word cougar they use all the time, which I hate, and I understand it on some level. There is an element of the huntress that we live in our full sexuality. And I kept having these dreams, and I was like, wow, what is this? And I suddenly woke up one day and I realized that the relationship wasn't feeding me, that I was feeding it all my energy. And I told my partner that I had to leave and move on. And it was a very, very difficult transition for me, because I really loved him, and I kind of hoped that we would get back together. And through that process, I went through a pretty big depression, because the tables got turned a little bit, and then I found out a lot of things about him that were hurtful, things that weren't in integrity, which is obviously why I was like having the dreams and the things that were coming forth of like, free yourself, get liberated, get back to your feminine essence, and be out there in the world and in service. And in that time, right after we split, I got the vision of Wild and Wise women, and I just kind of saw these incredible gatherings and events with women all over the world, being able to be in nature, working with expressive arts, which is my specialty, dancing, singing, having profound transformational journeys. And I realized that for many women who have either gone through a major life transition where they've lost connection with their self, or perhaps stayed in relationships for their whole lives where they never got to really feel their own passions and purpose in life, that there's a call right now on the planet for women to come together and to really like step up and step into our service in the world and what we're meant to be doing, because the world really needs the feminine. The cultures, this culture has really done a lot of interesting things to the feminine psyche as well as the masculine, where there's almost been a role reversal in the genders, where many men are now over feminized and many women are over masculinized. And my question that I bring to the table a lot with women's work is, how do we help to balance that back out? How do we become full embodiment of the feminine within our own selves, which of course is different for every woman, and allow men to be men without doing more damage to both sides? Because there's just been this gentrification, you know, like women, we have our power now, but it's been at a cost. And a lot of that cost comes in compromise to ourselves. And so that's kind of a little bit of what Wild and Wise is all about. Connecting with our passion. I mean, when you find whatever it is, that thing that turns you on,
yeah,
you know, and not everybody finds it. Like some people live their whole lives, but one of the things that I really, and I have a program I can share with you that helps you with that too, but if we return to our childhood and the place when we were young and the things that we really loved to do, and we can remember, and for some people there's so much trauma, you know, it was a really hard time in childhood, it's really hard to find that. But if you can connect in with that essence of whatever it was when you were little that just made your heart sing, you know, just or brought you peace or brought you to stillness. For me, one of my favorite things was sitting out on our dock, singing songs and watching the bugs. I would just sing songs to God. I would just pray to God and just sing songs. I was like, wait, now I have this business, Wild and Wise. It's all about nature, you know?
Yeah.
But if you can find that place, that's a source to start. So if that helps.
Oh yeah, thanks. That's a good thing.
That.
Go back to your childhood. I can relate to that very good.
Because we know when we're little, right? Because we're so connected to the wild.
Yes.
And wisdom. We're so tapped in when we're little. You know, even when there's stuff going on, we know somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously that place that, you know, brings forth that feeling, it's not always the bliss point. It's sometimes the thing that we're missing the most. And so, for example, myself, most of my work is built around community and this feeling of inclusion and family, because the way that our culture is set up, we don't have a lot of that. And I've been to places where it is very alive, and I've lived in that, and coming back, it's like, it's so painful. And so what you're experiencing, that's, you know, that place of an emotional impact is your service to the world also.